Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Good to hear. Well, thank you for joining us for our Earth Day Bio Blitz here at Sheep Pasture. I'm very excited to see you all here today. So, who here knows what a Bio Blitz is? See a no hands up, and that is what I expected. It's not something that we do every day. But a bio blitz is when we go out into nature and we look for as many different species as we can. So as many different kinds of plants and animals and mushrooms as we can possibly find. So we're going to be going around sheep pasture today. We're going to be going to a few different spots and seeing what kinds of life we can find here at sheep pasture, whether they're the birds in the air or the bugs buzzing around us or the plants growing on the ground or up in the sky. So we're going to be looking for a lot of stuff. To make sure that we can find the most stuff that we possibly can, we're going to be looking in a few different places. So we're going to start off looking at our forest. We're going to be going down this rhododendron trail and then hooking up with the whale rock trail. So going through the forest and seeing what kinds of things we're seeing and hearing, what we're noticing around us in the woods today. After that, we'll make our way over to our big fields, places with a bit more of an open sky that might let us see some different kinds of life. And then finally, we'll be making our way over to the water, looking at our stream and our pond, trying to see some of those things that are growing up in there right now. I know I heard some people who are very excited about finding tadpoles, and I think that is definitely something we will be able to find at our pond. So once we do all that, we should be able to find a lot of different kinds of life and really get a good idea of how many things live here at sheep pasture, how many things depend on this place to have a happy, healthy life. So we're going to be going around and trying to find as many different things as we can. For our parents and people around, if we have phones with cameras on them, we can take pictures to document things as we're going around. Or if you find something cool, you can always call me over and ask what something is or what we're actually looking at. So if you want to call me over, my name is Tristan. I'm an educator here at Sheep Pasture. So I will hopefully be able to help you out with whatever we are seeing, whatever we find today. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yeah.
All right, nice and thumbs up. So before we go, does anybody have any questions for me? All right, well, it looks like everybody is looking pretty good to go. Now, as we go around, I will also have a lot of field guides. So all of these books that I have up front, and I have a bunch more in my backpack, that will help us to look at some different things that we might be seeing and try to figure out exactly what we're seeing, because we want to be as specific as possible. If we see a bird, we don't want to just leave it at a bird. We want to see if we can figure out what kind of a bird it is, so we can see what we notice about it, how big it is, what colors it is, what it sounds like. So all of those things are tools that will be able to help us to identify it, to figure out what kind of thing we are looking at. So, thumbs up if we're ready to go. Awesome. All right. Well, then, absolutely. Let's get moving. Going a little bit slow because we really want to be noticing the things around us and taking a really close look at what we see. So it might be a little bit of a slow walk, but use that time to really look and experience what's going on. Let's get moving. Now, if everyone freezes and just has those open ears, are we already noticing some signs of life? What do we think it is? Birds. So, what kind of bird was that? Woodpecker. So our woodpeckers love to get all of those tasty bugs from inside of our trees. So right now there's a woodpecker up there trying to get into our trees, trying to get as much of those little bugs as possible. So we can add woodpecker to our list for today. We already saw a woodpecker, or heard a woodpecker, so we know that it's around here. Lucy? Yeah, so there are some things that we might just hear, or some things that we might just see signs of, but those absolutely count for thinking of what kinds of things are living here. So even though that woodpecker, I can't see it very easily right now, I still know that it's there. Oh, I think somebody did see something. I see a little squirrel poking around in the tree over there. Good eyes. All right, let's keep it going and see what else we can notice. Now, for my friends who are a little closer to the ground here, You guys see all these like blue purple flowers? Yeah, so it might be some kind of wildflower. So let's see, what was that animal you just saw climbing around in that tree?
I saw a squirrel.
A squirrel. So if we think of a squirrel, we take away the R's from squirrel, we're kind of left with the word squill. Can everyone say squill?
Squirrel.
Squill. So these flowers are called squills. So they have this nice bluey color. They kind of swoop their petals up. So they're kind of dotted all the way in between here. They're a really, really pretty one of our wildflowers. And what about these ones here? They're kind of starting to uncurl and unfurl. Does anyone have any idea what these could be? Lucy, do they remind you of any instrument? Not a flute. It starts with an F. Has anyone ever heard of someone playing the fiddle?
Oh, I don't even know what
So these are fiddle heads from our ferns. So when our ferns start growing, they grow in that fiddle head shape. So they're all curled up at the end, kind of like the end of a fiddle, the end of a violin. So we have some fiddlehead ferns starting to show up here as well.
She's really taking this in stride. She stopped, she sits.
she sat with the kids.
She's like, look at this.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So we buy fiddleheads from the grocery store. Are there two types of fiddleheads?
Yes, so every fern will grow as a fiddlehead when it's first growing. There are certain ones that we can eat. So usually when you buy fiddleheads, those are ostrich ferns. These ones, I believe, are some kind of wood fern, so not something that most people would eat, and there are some that you definitely can't eat, so you always got to be careful when you are foraging or anything like that. Nice, get a good pick of those. Beautiful. All right, let's keep on making our way through the woods and see if we can find anything a little bit deeper in. Nice! We got a nice spot of yellow with our dandelions. So we can add that to our list today as well. We got our dandelions. So those dandelions, they like to be in places with a lot of sunlight. So that's telling me that this spot gets a nice amount of sun. That might not be the case as we keep going deeper. Lucy.
What are these plants right here?
Ooh, these. They're a little spiky, so don't touch them like I'm doing. That is some kind of raspberry. Who here likes raspberries? Nice. So if you come back here in a few months, you might start to see those nice red raspberries starting to grow on those. So already, we've only made it like that far from where we started. And we've already seen ferns and squills and squirrels and woodpeckers and dandelions. And now we have raspberries to that list too. So when you really open your eyes, you can start seeing a lot of things, start noticing a lot of things around us. There's a ton of stuff living in here. We can see even more of those fiddleheads showing off that nice curly tail they have at the end.
You never even really noticed them. No. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, another plant that I'm starting to see now is all of these little leaves on the ground. Does everyone see these nice light green leaves on the ground?
Yeah.
So those are one of my favorite kinds of plant. And they have these really, really pretty flowers that they make. But if I look at them now, do they have flowers right now? No. So those flowers will have to wait a little bit, maybe like another month to grow. What month is it right now? April. So what's the month after April? What's next month? May. So these are ones that flower in May, and people first notice them up in the country north of us. So we live in America. Lucy, what country is north of us?
Can I just ask a question?
Yes. So those are the same kinds of things we were looking at. Those are more of our fiddlehead ferns, just kind of more bunched up already. So Lucy, what country is north of America? Maybe one of our parents could help us out?
Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Canada. So if we add all those things together, Canada, May, and flower, we get the Canada Mayflower. So all these little leaves on here are starting to grow up now that it's springtime, and next month they'll have these beautiful little white flowers to them. Ooh, maybe we'll see a raccoon today. Keep our eyes really open for them.
Find animals. Yeah, we'll find animals soon.
Very, very sneaky.
You like rabbits, right?
So that's already bringing us to a grand total of 7 species so far. Oh, we might see some bunnies today. Keep an eye open for some bunnies, especially when we get to the fields. Does everyone see my friend right here? Can everyone say hello to my friend? So this is one of my friendly trees here. We don't have a lot of them here at Sheep Pasture, but this is our biggest one of these trees. Oh man, we might see some birds flying overhead. So when I look at this tree, what color is it? It has a lot of brown to it. Yeah, it has some green growing on it. If I look at the really, really new stuff, what color would that be? Kind of brown. Does it have a little bit of a yellow to it? Yeah. So this tree is a little bit brighter, has a little bit more yellow to it. And I have all these nice lines cutting across, and that tells me it's a birch. So this is our yellow birch tree. Our nice, beautiful yellow birch tree. And these yellow birches, they really, really like to grow in places with a lot of sun. And when the sun hits them, because they're so nice and bright and shiny, they sparkle and they gleam like gold. So that is my friend, the yellow birch. So I think that's our first tree for the day, but we're definitely going to be seeing a lot more trees.